Hey there, welcome to Monday Night Poetry. So tonight we're going to continue with our little series on the Harlem Renaissance with the poet Countee Cullen, who was born with the name Countee Leroy Porter in 1903. It says he might have been born in Louisville, Kentucky, but it appears that that's not confirmed. He would move to New York City, where he would attend high school, and his interest in poetry was pretty early on. By the age of 14, he was writing actively. And around that same time, 14, 15, he was adopted by Minister F.A. Cullen, who was a Methodist minister of one of the largest congregations in Harlem. So that kind of put him in the community there in New York City. During college, his poems were published in The Crisis and Opportunity, and later on they would be published in Harper's and Century Magazine and Poetry Magazine. So after graduating from NYU, he published his first volume of poetry called Color. This would be the first of several other books he would write, including some anthologies that included other Black poets of the time. He wrote in the Romantic tradition, following the styles of like Percy Bysshe Shelley and Keats. This was different from a lot of the other poets of the Harlem Renaissance who went more into like the modernist practice of writing. But he was very interested in that era and that style, academically as well as creatively. He was sometimes criticized for this interest in what was considered more white literary movements. And also he was criticized for his seeming resistance to wanting to be called a Black poet. He would rather have just been called a poet. He had a lot of success in like white academia, and that gained him a little bit of criticism for that. And as his life went on, he would continue writing, but also would become a teacher and work in theater, like at doing some writing for plays. There's some evidence that he may have been secretly a gay man. However, at the time, that was not something he was living publicly as, and he did have women twice in his life. So that's a bit about Countee Cullen. He died in 1946, unfortunately early at the age of 43. So we're gonna move along and read a couple of his poems. The first poem I'd like to read by him is called From the Dark Tower. We shall not always plant while others reap, the golden increment of bursting fruit, not always countenance abject and mute, that lesser men should hold their brothers cheap, not everlastingly while others sleep. Shall we beguile their limbs with mellow flute, not always bend to some more subtle brute? We were not made eternally to weep. The night whose sable breast relieves the stark, white stars is no less lovely, being dark. And there are buds that cannot bloom at all in light, but crumple piteous and fall. So in the dark we hide the hearts that bleed, and wait and tend to our agonizing seeds. So there you can sort of hear the lyrical style that was very indicative of the Romantic era. Next poem I'd like to read is called Protest. I long not now a little while at least for that serene interminable hour when I shall leave this baramicidal feast with poppy for my everlasting flower. I long not now for that dim cubicle of earth to which my lease will not expire, where he who comes a tenant there may dwell without a thought of famine, flood, or fire. Surely that house has quite to bestow, still tongue, spent pulse, heart pumped of its last throb, the fingers tense and tranquil in a row, the throat unwelled with any sigh or sob, but time to live, to love, bear pain and smile. Oh, we are given such a little while. The next poem I'd like to read is called Confession. If for a day joy masters me, think not my wounds are healed. Far deeper than the scars you see, I keep the roots concealed. They shall bear blossoms with the fall, I have their word for this, who tend my roots with rains of gall and suns of prejudice. The last poem I'd like to read by Countee Cullen is called If You Should Go. Love, leave me like the light, the gently passing day. We would not know, but for the night, when it has slipped away. So many hopes have fled, have left me but the name of what they were when love is dead. Go thou, beloved, the same. Go quietly, a dream, when done, should leave no trace. Go quietly. A dream, when done, should leave no trace that it has lived, except a gleam across the dreamer's face. And that's If You Should Go by Countee Cullen. And that's all I have for this evening. Thanks all so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.